if you're watching this video, you're probably considering applying to Teachers College, so here's a little bit about my story and how I got in. So I'm in my first semester pursuing a Master of Arts in Social Organizational Psychology at Teachers College at Columbia University. So the application requires your resume, 2 letters of recommendation, a personal statement, and then optional, you can submit your GRE and a supplement statement. So I did not submit my GRE because I didn't take it. And I love the fact that the scores were waived because I wasn't going to take it. I applied for a spring start. The application was due in November, and I decided like mid-September that I was going to apply to this program, so that gave me about a month and a half to get all my materials together. So of course, throughout all your application materials, you want to make sure everything is strong and really well written. I had the former boss write one of my letters of recommendation and then one of my professors. So for those of you in undergrad watching this, make sure to maintain those relationships with your professors from undergrad. In my personal and supplement statement, I talked about concrete examples of transformational educational experiences. So I pulled them throughout my whole K through 12 journey and throughout my time in undergrad. This is where it helps to apply to a program that's like truly near and dear to your heart, because I love education down, you guys. I just love to learn. It was pretty easy for me to pull like specific examples as to how education and like social services have helped shape my well-being and development. It's like for me, I grew up first generation low income, so it wasn't just school that supported me, but it was also extracurricular activities that helped support my development as well. When it comes to your resume, I mean, this is just good advice for your resume in general, not just for applying to school, but of course they talk a lot about, instead of just writing out the tasks that you do at your job, talk about the impact that it's made. So whatever metrics that you can provide, saying like, oh, when you can give like specific time, dates, percentages, whatever numbers you can give, make sure you do that. So I was able to do that. Also, I was involved a lot in different clubs and organizations in undergrad, so I included some of my volunteering experience, and then I'm a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated and served as the National Second Vice President. There's a lot of lore into like my whole journey. So just to give brief context about that position, I was the highest ranking collegiate officer within the organization, and then 3rd overall within the entire organization. That was a very transformational experience, you guys. That's a separate topic for a separate day, but to be a board member of a $55 million international enterprise, as a college student. So it's like I was traveling like every other weekend for different conferences, events, and meetings, and all the different things. But also just the amazing women that I got to meet throughout that experience. It just changed my life in a lot of different ways. So again, another transformational experience. And again, I feel like what helped too is just, I feel like, when it comes to stuff like that, it's like you have up to 3 pages to get your point across. So 3 pages for the personal statement and 500 words for the supplement. So you have to be as concise as possible. So for me, there was a lot of revisions, a lot of rewriting, rephrasing things, and then but yeah, just really trusting the writing process. But yeah, it's like definitely like I went there. It's like you gotta go there. You can only go up from where you started. At least that's how I saw it. So it's like, what do I have to lose by not sharing my truth and not living in it, right? So I think that, so that was definitely a process. It was an emotional process to say the least, just because it's helping, or it just brought up some things like, wow, like I really, like wow, whoever thought that I'd be where I'm at today. So what led me to this specific program? So social organizational psychology, also known as SOP. Fun fact, I actually applied to Teachers College 2 years ago. I got my undergraduate degree in human development and family science, so studied education and was a family and consumer science teacher. I navigated undergrad with little to no support. So in my mind, I was like, okay, I'm gonna study education and I'm gonna be a teacher, and boom, that's that. If you want to grow as a teacher or like take on more responsibility or go into a higher level position, either you take the administration route or you go and further your education to go to go seek opportunities post grad. Now I've flirted with the idea of being a professor. I still do to this day, but I think that's ultimately not going to be the right fit for me. But yeah, I just thought I was going to be a teacher forever and ever and ever, and I was like, you know what? This is not what I thought it was going to be. So that's what I learned in my. So for most programs, your last semester of college is you student teaching full time. I did that full time and I didn't get paid. I'm still salty about that, but I digress. So I was like, yeah, this is not for me. I ended up accepting a full time position at a high school, and because I was like, you know, in my mind, I just had to be sure. I had to be sure. And sure enough, now I'm sure. Applied to Teachers College. It was a Master's of Education in Sociology with a focus in public policy. So that was a 3-year program, and I'm glad that my application got denied because I ended up I ended up doing public policy research when I first moved to the city. And again, it was another iteration of, yeah, this isn't what I thought it was going to be, and it's not for me long term. So kind of where my head was at as far, once that application got rejected, I was like, you know what, okay, let me pivot. What drew me to public policy is I'm really interested in the legislative process, and also just understanding how social service programs are designed and disseminated to the people that it serves. I was like, okay, if I'm so interested in the legislative process, why not go to law school? That ended up not panning out just because I couldn't commit to studying the LSAT. Let's talk about my academic journey. So I actually applied to college as an accounting major, but UNT has a fashion design program. So once I got to orientation, I'm like, no, like I really need to, because it's like if I was taking such a big leap of faith, like I moved from South Dakota to Texas. I never visited the campus until I got there for my freshman orientation. I was like, you know what? Incredibly risky decision, but hey, I mean, that's how I move. That's how I move, okay? Ended up working out, hey, I finished the program, here we are. So I was like, like I need to find out if this if pursuing this opportunity is for me. So switched to fashion design, started off school as a fashion design major. I was in those labs, because we had drawing, we had design, the whole like, okay, here are these sculptures and you're gonna draw it from from sight. I was in, you guys, I would look at the artwork of my classmates. I'm like, whoa, like these guys, they're real artists. I'm like, this is my hobby. Like, I shouldn't, this is not even me trying to like downplay my artistic skills. It's just being self aware and like, yeah, I have strengths in other places. So let me pursue those other strengths. So I switched my major to fashion merchandising, which focuses more on the business side of fashion. And then again, like just learned that wasn't for me. So that's when I switched to human development and family science. Now, I'll be honest, leaving education was never my end goal. I was so devastated when I realized that it wasn't an opportunity that was gonna pan out the way that I thought it would. That like you guys, like I was actually like really heartbroken. What I learned from out that process is like my heart was in the right place, but it's actually really like I think that being an educator, especially at public schools, especially at underfunded public schools, it takes it's a lot of self-sacrifice, and it's like I have a small cup of resources for myself as is, and it's like for me to overextend myself trying to give that to other people, I just don't have it. I don't have that in me, and like I'm not that, it's not even that I'm not that dedicated. It's just being realistic and intentional about the resources that I do have and allocating that accordingly. So I was at a Title I school, and like my content area, it's a lot of project-based learning, so it's hard to teach people without supplies and equipment to do that. The nice thing about my program is that because I'm still working full-time and I'm enrolled in school part-time, so it has a scientist practitioner model, so anything that I'm learning in class is directly applicable to my experience. So that's really cool. It's been really interesting, learning like the science behind the way businesses operate and why people behave the way that they do. The program describes it as a psychology MBA, which I would say it's definitely an accurate description. One thing that I was advised to do is to attend any information sessions. So luckily they had one on campus that I was able to go to. They had it with some other top education graduate schools. So Harvard was there, Penn was there, Vanderbilt was there, just like briefly going over the programs that they offer, what makes their school unique, and all the different things. There's also an SOP specific webinar I was able to attend. One thing they mentioned is like who's ever writing your letter, make sure that they know you well. You want someone that can speak to the in and outs of your hustle, your drive, your commitment, your, you know, what you can provide to that program and what you would gain from it. So I think that it's definitely helpful to look at it from that angle as well. Like, yeah, you want to get into that program, but it's like, what are you going to gain from it? How's that going to help you in your career? And what value do you provide to that program as well? So I was able to hit all those points. When I got my acceptance letter, like honestly, you guys, I feel like for me, just getting the first degree was a dream, right? I was like, wow, you know, I started this thing. It was so hard, but I saw it through to the end. So I feel like anything that's been beyond that, it's like, wow, this is like way beyond any of my wildest dreams. So for me, I was just like happy that I was going to be furthering my education. Period. Nonetheless, at the top graduate education school in the United States, an Ivy League, the only Ivy League in New York City. You know what I mean? This is like wow. You know, I feel like it's still like wow. That's how I feel. I will say one thing for anyone that's considering applying to TC or maybe just graduate school in general if they're planning to work full time. Because I'm at the office all day, I think that you know I definitely haven't been able to take advantage of the like in-person programs that they have because it's mainly throughout the middle of the day. So that is one thing. Like I'm kind of removed from the graduate student life. And one thing I will say too is, I mean, as rigorous as the work is, I think that I'm adjusting as best as I can. But the nice thing is, TC offers a lot of different resources to help support students. So while I haven't really taken advantage of any of those resources, it's nice to know that it's there. So it's been a good time, you know, second degree loading. And again, I'm so excited to be where I'm at in life and look forward to this journey. And I, of course, will keep you guys updated. But yeah, let me know if there's anything else that you guys want to know.